Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack. Welcome to another edition of Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Coming back from my trip, I'm still kind of out of sorts on this. I don't know what day it is. Just settling back into things. Got a little bit of a problem with the rhomboid muscle back here. I think I'm kind of messed it up carrying this backpack through the airport the other day, so I'm just kind of trying to let that loosen up, and I'm doing a little bit of stretching today. But anyhow, wanted to talk about raw vegan recipes for fall and talking about soups and stews. Guys, I do videos every day. So if you haven't already done it, please go down there and hit that subscribe button now, and then immediately go click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. People might be saying for the fall, but it's still summer, it's still hot, and yes it is, and I'm in the deep south and it's going to be hot for another 6 weeks. You never know. October's usually that month, usually around the middle of October. Hopefully we'll get one little, something just to lower the temps. But anyhow, most places have more of a normal fall. They're going to see the temps start dropping soon. And also, too, the time to start thinking about and preparing for anything is before it happens. You don't wait until you're right in the middle of it. One, I don't want to hear that again this winter. I'm tired of the cold. I can't do it in the cold. I can't do it in the cold. That's just another one of those worn out excuses. Now, if you don't want to do it in the cold, don't do it. Eat some clean cooked food, but don't. That's kind of, I guess what I'm saying is like the food is not, put some clothes on. Put some clothes on. But if you want to stay raw, you can stay raw, and that's not going to be a reason you don't stay raw. It'll just be another, like I say, excuse that you add to the pile. But the things I do like in the wintertime, I do find that I like a little bit heartier. And let me just go back to that for a second. Some of these hearty recipes that I'm going to talk about, and you guys know I'm not like Mr. Fanatic. I eat cooked food. I'm sure I'll eat cooked food throughout the winter. I'm eating sweet potatoes right now until I ripen some bananas. But I will tell you, if you will talk about the, excuse me, actual heat factor of the food or the hotness of the food, from temperature aspect, not from a caliente aspect, what I'm talking about here is, I think actually for me, the stews are more satisfying in the winter than say what I eat when it's cooked, like a sweet potato, just a plain sweet potato, because those stews are a lot heavier, a lot heartier. I use some spices in my stews, and they just, I don't know, they really settle. They feel good. I'm going to share a couple of them. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that. One of my favorite stews that I came up with, and I shared the recipe for last winter, I'll put right here. I think you'll be able to just click right here, but if I'm not able to figure out that magic, just go to the description below. That is a stew that I came up with last year, just to give you a little preview. It's a good one. It's a really hearty one. It has marinated mushrooms, corn, and red pepper. I think I might have talked about that one in my video yesterday. Now, the second one I'm going to also recommend is one I got from Alyssa's Raw Food Romance, following up on that interview the other day, her 30-day meal plan. Her chili's worth buying the book, but if you go to this video here, she pretty much tells you how to make it here. So I'll once again try to link here, but if not, it's down below. Those two are really good. In fact, I was looking around online this morning trying to find, see what I could pricing a used dehydrator, but just so I could make some of that chili throughout the winter. And I got a few months to work on that, but I think I am going to get one. But things like that. And I'm going to develop a couple more recipes for myself for the fall, and I'll be sharing them with you. And probably for me, one thing too is if you can find, a lot of times I like to find versatile, I like to come up with versatile recipes, or I like to find recipes out there that have have a little bit of room where I can play around with them, make them my own, and do different variations of them. I'm thinking I would like to, I like that marinated mushroom base. So I would like to try some different directions, some different flavors than that mushroom base. I don't know. Even though it doesn't taste like it, what I was kind of going for with that mushroom, corn, red pepper, tomato, and amongst other things, stew, was I used to have a stew when I was a kid. I'd love to get a raw vegan knockoff of this, Brunswick Stew. I don't know what region. I mean, we had it here. I don't know where it was in, where it was originally from. But Brunswick Stew, it was just a little bit different. I appreciated chili in the winter, but Brunswick Stew was different. And I remember it having the vegetables and the corn, and obviously it had meat in it and stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to play with some, like I say, some different flavors and some different textures and stuff. But I would like to see what I could do further with the mushrooms. So I'm going to might even do that this weekend, start just Googling and researching a little bit and starting to get some ideas around for that. But no, amongst that, I mean, once again, I try to go back to this. Even on the standard American diet, unless you were just a gourmet, unless you were a foodie, unless you were just like a big-time kitchen person that was constantly creating. And I think people that create a lot of food like that, it's more about being in the kitchen and creating than actually I need that much for myself. What I'm getting at here is how many recipes, no matter how you've eaten in your life, how much variety are you really eating all the time, no matter what you're on? Sometimes I hear people tell me, like, well, you don't have a lot of variety. I'm like, maybe not. You might be right, but I was like that. A lot of things, the way I was eating my standard American diet, not everything translated over. Like in my standard American diet, I was very much like that. No matter what periods I was going through, no matter what I ate, like I would just have, at any given time, I would have these 3 or 4 things that I was just eating them over and over and over and over. And I'm a champ on repeat. Like I used to just, when I was eating that kind of stuff, I could just eat beans and rice day after day after day. And I could do that with a number of things, like I would always make one big thing, a big pot of soup, a big pot of this, a big pot of that, and eat on it for several days. So repetition's never been a problem for me. So all I really need is, I'm thinking, okay, I've got my soup. I've got my stew. I'm going to start making Melissa's chili again this summer. Really, if I can come up, I'm not shooting for a lot of numbers. If I can come up with 2 or 3 more soups that I really like, I'd be happy. Now, I do some green soups, and some of my green soups are the same because you can use spices for warming effects as well. I've got and I'd have to dig it back up, and I've probably evolved past that particular recipe. But I've got a green soup that I like to make that's roughly it's tomatoes, cucumbers to get a little bit of a watery base, and then I just put a bunch of spinach in there, garlic, sometimes a little bit of celery in there, and I get that real thick. And I'll put an herb in with that. And in the winter, you put a little bit of chili powder in there, put a little bit of red pepper. Red pepper flakes in there, get a little heat going, put a little jalapeno in there. That's really good to make it hearty like that. Now, other things I add, if you really want to make it thick, different variations, I put corn in that. I blend up corn in that. When I want to add fat to it, I add avocado, and it really thickens it up. And I'll even add, I really like corn. I really like the corn. You can blend the corn in with it to thicken that. But also, too, after I make the green, I like to mix corn, just kernels of corn in with that. So hearty, just think hearty more than heat. I think hearty will help you during the winter more than heat will. Because think about it. You could get something, and I'm not saying, whether it's like you could get a thin soup. Let's say you had like a miso soup or one of these like real thin soups. Just because that's hot, I don't think that's going to necessarily, that's like drinking a cup of tea or something like that. That doesn't like give you that deep warmth. So it's not going to give you that much warmth anyway. Now these heavier meals, these hearty meals, although the temperature of the food itself is not, warm, it's more satisfying, more warming to my body than something that's, say, less substantial but is hotter. So think about that, and I'm gonna see what I can come up with, and I'll share here one that I've kind of, you know, made various versions of corn chowders, corn soups. I really want a good thick corn soup for myself. So I'm going to try to perfect a corn soup for myself. What else? What else? I would like to do something light, even though I'm saying lighter for different occasions, so I could like really blend it in the Vitamix and get it right up to that point where it's a little bit warm, like a carrot. A thicker carrot though, like a thicker ginger carrot soup. But it's, you know, the purpose of this video wasn't a precursor to, ooh, I'm going to do a bunch of recipes for you, because my recipes are always just, you know, they're hearty, but they're good. But the point being is you can figure some of these things out for yourself. If you find somebody else's soup online, look for fundamental ingredients. Look for ingredients that make a good base, and you can build upon that. Now, one last little thing that I wish somebody that was like one of these really serious raw food chefs could come up with, because I'm a Southern boy and now I'm back living down here, and I grew up on gumbo. Man, what I wouldn't give for some raw gumbo. Now, to tell you the truth, if it was clean, I would go for some good, just even cooked vegan gumbo, because, yeah, you know, anybody out here, anybody watching me from Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana especially, Louisiana, that's like, gumbo is a religion over there. I've talked to people about gumbo. I remember sitting down, oh God, where was this? This was back, I think, probably right, maybe a year or so before I switched lifestyles. And I sat in this sports bar one afternoon and talked to this good old boy from Louisiana about gumbo for about 2 hours. And he was serious. This boy knew how to make some gumbo. So props up to anybody out there that could ever make me a raw gumbo. But anyhow, that's the direction. That's the direction. Fall's coming. Be ready. Don't wait till it gets here and then be like, oh my God, what do I do now? Think about these seasons ahead of time. Think about them ahead of time. You know, don't think, I think in this way in a lot of different things that I'm working on online right now. You don't think about what's happening right now in certain ways, which goes against my mindfulness practice, but you kind of have to start getting ready down the road. So get ready for the cooler weather. And no better way than these thick soup and stew recipes. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.